Qatar 2022 is the first World Cup ever held during the Northern Hemisphere winter, which started on November 20th to end on December 18th. The FIFA World Cup is normally hosted in the Northern Hemisphere during the summer, following the conclusion of the European football season. 32 teams overall, including the host Qatar, earned a spot in the FIFA World Cup 2022, which will be the final tournament with 32 teams and the first World Cup to be held in the Middle East. However, due to the extreme summer heat in Qatar, the matches for Qatar 2022 were slated to take place in the fall and winter. Club's 2022-23 campaign will resume after the final in December. It will be the first time a World Cup is hosted by an Arab nation. Qatar 2022 will also be the first World Cup held in Asia since South Korea and Japan hosted the 2022 edition, which Brazil won. But there are a lot of other things that will make the FIFA World Cup in Qatar a special event to look forward to. Here are some intriguing details regarding the much-awaited extravaganza. As I said earlier, it is the first ever Winter World Cup. The 2022 edition of the competition would be the first ever Winter World Cup if considered from the Northern Hemisphere. Normally, the World Cup is held in the middle of the year, but when it came to Qatar, an exception had to be made. Qatar, which is tucked away in the Middle East, endures agonizing hot temperatures that sometimes reach up to 50 degrees Celsius. Hosting any kind of international event is seen as being nearly difficult under such circumstances. As a result, the FIFA World Cup was moved from its typical summertime location. The most expensive. Another interesting fact is the amount the host nation spent to prepare the event. An estimated $200 billion was spent by Qatar on infrastructure projects, including the building of hotels, motorways, and stadiums. As a result, the event tops the ranks as the most expensive World Cup ever held. Also, it would be played in the fewest stadiums possible. There may be some or many questions about the number of venues, but the World Cup being held in Qatar uses only 8 stadiums, which is the fewest World Cup sites in recent memory. In reality, only one of the 8 venues chosen to host the competition had a complete renovation, while the other 7 were freshly constructed across the country. However, only 6 stadiums were used when Argentina hosted the FIFA World Cup in 1978, and as I said earlier, only 8 stadiums are being used by Qatar to host the event this year. The number of tourists anticipated to enter the nation during the event is one of the most intriguing statistics. A record number of spectators may arrive for the Qatar FIFA 2022 World Cup by the time the competition is over, according to estimates. This has an understandable cause. Qatar, one of the best countries in the Middle East, is close to most other countries due to its advantageous geographic location. Qatar is a small country, making it the most commutable. In actuality, it is far smaller than Russia, the 2018 World Cup host. Therefore, traveling around this small nation is not a major issue because of how small it is. Cities that serve as hosts like Doha, Lusail, Al-Wakra, and Al Rayyan are situated close to one another. As a result, traveling from one venue to another wouldn't be too difficult for visitors. The 2 most remote stadiums in Qatar, Al-Bayat and Al-Wakra, are barely 90 miles apart, which is an additional intriguing fact. The fact that Qatar experiences distressingly high daytime temperatures are one of the most significant things to keep in mind about the country serving as the FIFA 2022 host. However, Qatar devised a bold method to address the problem. The FIFA World Cup is being held in stadiums with full air conditioning for the first time ever. All 8 of Qatar's venues will be fully air-conditioned, ensuring that spectators have a comfortable viewing experience and that players have favorable circumstances in which to compete on the field. Asia's second largest. In addition to being the first country from the Middle East to host the FIFA World Cup, Qatar will also organize the event for the second time ever in Asia in 2022. When Japan and South Korea jointly staged the FIFA event for the first time in Asia in 2002, it was the first time it had ever happened. Now let's quickly review a few World Cup records about some competing World Cup champions. As we all know, Brazil now holds the record with 5 World Cup victories. For nearly 20 years, the Brazilians have been pinning for another World Cup victory. Brazil, led by Neymar, will take the field to improve its track record in Qatar. Brazil last won the World Cup in South Korea and Japan in 2002 with a 2-0 victory over Germany in Yokohama. Meanwhile, France, who have many stars in the squad such as Kylian Mbappe, Paul Pogba, and Antoine Griezmann, are the reigning champions. France has won the World Cup twice, in 1998 and 2018, and they are hoping to retain this crown. The French team, led by Griezmann, Pogba, and Mbappe, defeated Croatia 4-2 to win the 2018 World Cup in Russia, claiming the title as champions. Germany, the 2014 World Cup champions, is willing to tie Brazil for the most World Cup victories with 4. Italy has won the World Cup 4 times as well, in 1934, 1938, 1982, and 2006, but they didn't make it to Qatar 2022. After a lengthy absence, Wales and Canada will compete in the World Cup finals. After a 64-year absence, the Welsh national football team secured a spot in the 2022 World Cup. Wales defeated Ukraine 1-0 in the playoff in June to qualify for Qatar 2022 under Gareth Bale's direction. For the first time since 1958, the Ukrainian forward Andriy Yarmolenko's own goal advanced the Dragons to the World Cup finals. Canada won the CONCACAF third round, earning them a World Cup entry for the first time in 36 years. The Reds defeated Jamaica 4-0 to secure their spot in Qatar 2022. After Mexico in 1986, this is Canada's first World Cup appearance. Canada will compete in Group F against Belgium, Morocco, and Croatia. In Russia 2018, Belgium finished third, and Croatia won the World Cup silver medal. Most of these teams are back again in the World Cup, contending for another chance to be champion once again. Alright guys, that wraps up our video for today. Let us know your opinion about the Qatar 2022 World Cup so far below in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, do well to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.